Hello everyone, we are live. Welcome to English Lessons Live. Really quick disclaimer, technically we're not live. Technically this is a pre-recorded video, but because of like live streaming speeds and stuff, it's better to pre-film this. But if you are watching at the launch time, at the premiere time, then I am in the comments as well. I'm in the live chat, so I can answer any of your questions and talk you guys through what we're doing today. So in a way, we are kind of live and not live at the same time. If you're working with us today, can you please, if you're on Twitter, maybe or on Facebook, hashtag us with hashtag St Anne's Live. And if you're on Twitter, then our handle is St Anne's Rainhill. It would be great to see what people are getting up to in the middle of the stream today. If you've got any work that you want to send to us at the end of the lesson, then you can send it directly to RSA, which stands for Rainhill St Anne's, .year6@3-saints.org.uk. So that's how to get in touch with us afterwards. These are basically some little quick bits of English lessons throughout the week that you can be doing, as well as doing your paper packs. It's not, you don't have to come into these are just here if you would like to come and do them. Hopefully a little bit of fun, do a little bit of English, and have a bit of a chat as well on the chat, live chat. The only things you're going to need are a pencil and something, some paper and something to write with. Okay, let's start off today's lesson with a little bit of a grammar starter. If you're in year one, what I want you to do is have a look at what I've written on the board here. I've written two words. I've written happy and I've written clean. What I would like you to do is to have a little think of a prefix, so a group of letters that come before a word, a prefix that can come between both of these words, come before both those words to mean not. So what would we have to add on to happy to mean not happy? What would we have to add on to clean to mean not clean? Can you be having a little think about that, year one? And if in year two, can you have a look at the sentence I've written on the board here? It says, he should tie his shoes. Probably should be shoelaces, really, but never mind. This, at the moment, is a statement. It's a statement. It's a type of a sentence called a statement. I'm not sure how well you can see the red pen. It's all a learning curve. Not really. I might rewrite that again in black. So this is a statement. Actually, let's probably got a nice blue. What I would like you to do, year twos, is change that statement. That's not much better, is it, to be honest? Change that statement into a command. How can you change this sentence, he should tie his shoes, to a command? Have a little think about that, year two. Year one, I'm back with you again. I asked you to think of a prefix, so a couple of letters that you can add before happy and that you can add before clean to mean not. I wonder what people came up with. What you should have come up with is the prefix of un. So we have unhappy and we have unclean. So the prefix of un, that doesn't work for every single word, but the prefix un meaning not. I wonder if you can think of any other, oops, dropped my pen. I wonder if you can think of any other words which you can add un in front of to mean not. For example, undo, not to do. Year two, I asked you guys, he should tie his shoes, and this is a statement. I asked you guys, could you change this statement into a command for me? Make it into a command. We have statements, we have questions, we have commands, and we have exclamations, okay? How do you turn this to a command? Well, a command needs at the start the imperative verb, the bossy verb. So we find the verb, it's tie. Tie is the action, so the command will be tie, either tie his shoes or tie your shoes, more likely. Tie your shoes. And that would be the command, because the verb is at the beginning. For example, if I gave you he can wash the car as a statement, the command would be wash the car. So remember, your commands start with an imperative or a bossy verb. Just a little bit of a spag starter to start us off. Might come back to that at another time. So today we are going to be doing a little bit of writing based on this book by Oliver Jeffers, which is called The Way Back Home. Now I'm going to read it to you guys. Hopefully you'll be able to see the pictures. What I'll do as well is I'll put it in the description a link to a YouTube video where you can go and look at this book in more detail. Someone's reading it and the pictures are zoomed in so you can see them a little bit better. But I will read it to you guys now so we can crack on with our writing for today as well. So it's The Way Back Home by Oliver Jeffers. Let's have a little look. Once there was a boy. You might recognise this boy from a different book. And one day, as he was putting his things back in the cupboard, he found an aeroplane. He didn't remember leaving it there, but he thought he'd take it out for a go right away. You can see there him getting ready to go on his Aeroplane Adventure. The plane lifted off the ground and up into the sky, higher and higher and higher. Suddenly, the plane spluttered. It had run out of petrol. Now the boy was stuck on the moon. What was he to do? Oh, dearie me, that's not what you want, is it? Stuck on the moon. Very, very inconvenient. He was all alone and afraid. And soon his torch began to go out. So look how dark it is, and soon his torch is running out. This will be extremely dark then, won't it? Up in space, someone else was in trouble too. His engine had broken down, and steering the ship towards a flicker of light, he landed on the moon with a bump. So someone else who's now landed on the moon by accident. Not another boy in an aeroplane though, is it? Both the boy and the Martian could hear noises in the dark, and both feared the worst. So the boy thinks it might be a monster, and the Martian might think it's a monster. But as their eyes got used to the dark, they both realised they'd met someone else in trouble. They weren't alone anymore. So they found out they're both stuck, but at least now they've got some company. At least now they're not completely by themselves. The boy showed the Martian his empty petrol tank, and the Martian showed the boy his broken engine. Together, they thought of ways to fix their machines and how to get them both back home. And they're having lots of little discussions about, oh, we could do this, or we could potentially do this. The boy jumped down to earth to get the things they would need, right down into the sea, and swam towards home. By the time he got there, the boy was tired out, so he sat on his favourite chair just to catch his breath. His favourite programme was just starting, and he settled down to watch it. That sounds nice, doesn't it? But has he potentially forgotten about someone? Don't think he's quite remembered what he should be doing. Suddenly he remembered what he should be doing and rushed off to the cupboard to get what he needed. He ran outside and shouted, but there was no reply. He couldn't be heard. Oh dear. So he starts making his way up a mountain. Oh, there's a bit of writing here. It's hidden in the darkness. The boy climbed to higher ground, called again, and waited. This time, a rope was lowered. The boy began to climb, and the Martian began to pull, and soon the boy was back on the moon. The boy fixed up the Martian's engine with the right spanner, and the Martian filled up the boy's petrol tank, so it's nice they're helping each other. They say goodbye and thanked each other for their help. They wondered if they would ever meet again. After a long night, they were both finally off the moon. The boy went one way and the Martian went another, both on their way back home. Now I've got a little picture here, someone delivering something, and the boy not being sure what it is, so he decides to leave it on the ground and go and play. But then from the remote control it says, hello? Hello? So possibly the Martian trying to get back in contact. So that's the Way Back Home by Oliver Jeffers, a lovely book. So that's what we're going to do, a little bit of writing on today. So what you're going to need is paper and something to write with, and how it will work is that I might do a sentence and then I'll ask you to have a little go, and then you can do a sentence, and then we'll keep doing like that and we'll build up together. Don't remember, you can have a little look at what I'm doing, and you can obviously copy off what I'm doing a little bit, and there might be sometimes I say, ooh, try and have a go at yourself, see if you can come up with your own ideas and things like that, okay? Remember, you can pause the video at any time just to make sure you're keeping up with it. If you're struggling to see, make sure you put us on full screen, and if it's a bit blurry, click on the little cog, or get a parent to click on the little cog and see if you can put yourself up to at least 360p, if not higher. Okay, right, so I wonder how Oliver Jeffers started his book, because starting books are sometimes really difficult. He started his with Once There Was a Boy. So I think we'll start exactly the same thing. So I'm going to write that. Once there was a boy. Now I need a nice clear capital letter. Once there was a boy. Okay, now I would like to add a little bit more information, maybe a little bit more than Oliver Jeffers added onto his. I want to add something called a relative clause. Now you don't need to worry about the name of it, but I want to add one of these on to tell me a little bit more information about the boy. So I'm going to start my relative clause with the word who. Just like that. Once there was a boy who. And now I'm going to tell my reader something about my main character, my boy. Now, I could say things like, once there was a boy who liked football, or once there was a boy who was 5 years old, or something like that. But actually, that's not the most interesting thing about him. Let's think about what we know about our character. Well, he loves having adventures. So maybe I should put something like that. So I could put, once there was a boy who loved having adventures. And that would set up my whole story. That would tell my audience something useful about the boy. I could put it in a few different ways. I could say, once there was a boy who loved investigating the world. I could say, once there was a boy who was bored of just sitting at home. I could say, once there was a boy who dreamed of going into space. Kind of any of those ideas. All of them are really good. What am I going to put? I'm going to say, once there was a boy who, I like this, who loved, I'm going to say loved adventure and exploring. So I put two things that he liked. So my full sentence now is, once there was a boy who loved adventure and exploring. That's the first thing I would like you to have a little go of doing. You can have this bit, once there was a boy who, and then I want you to tell me something interesting about our character. Something that links to the adventure we've just seen him having in the book. So it could be once there was a boy who dreamed of going into space. Try and come up with your own who clause here. Something to add on to the end of once there was a boy. That would be the first thing for you to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on, and you can either pause the video there and have a go, or keep watching and have a go at the end of trying to put all these things in, okay? So now I've said my first sentence about my boy, I want to move on with my story. I want to get into my story. So what's the first thing that happens? Well, the first thing that happens is we can see he's throwing everything into his cupboard. He's probably tidying up. So I want a sentence that tells us all about the boy tidying up. Now, I could say the boy was tidying up, but that's a little bit boring. So what I might do instead is I might do some words that are like sounds, okay? Onomatopoeia words, like bang and crash. I wonder how many we can think of. We've got bang and crash and smash and thud and thump and clang and ting, words that sound like the sounds they make, like hiss and things like that. I'm going to do my next sentence with 3 of those sound words. So if I imagine I'm tidying up and I want to get all the things in the cupboard so I can carry on playing, I might be throwing them in quite randomly. I'm not really paying any attention. So I might end up with a clang. So I'm going to do a big capital letter there because it's a brand new sentence. I might do a clang. I might have a smash. And I might have a thud. Now you can see I've separated each of those words with a full stop, as if they're a sentence all by themselves. And actually, because they're going to be quite loud noises, I could swap that full stop for an exclamation mark. Clang, smash, thud. I'm just remembering that they each need to start with a capital letter though, because they are their own sentence. That's good, isn't it? Once there was a boy who loved adventure and exploring. Clang, smash, thud. I would like you to add on to yours 3 sound words like that. Now you can borrow 1 or 2 of mine if you want, but see if you can come up with some of your own. Only do 3, don't do a whole list of them. Just see if you can add 3 on, just like I've done, with capital letters at the beginning and exclamation mark at the end. Remember, they've got bang and crash and smash. Oh, I've already got smash. Thump and ting and boom and ones like that as well. See if you can add 3 onto yours. Pause the video if you want to do that now, or you can do it at the end. So now I've got clang and smash and thud. I guess my audience are going to want to know what's making those noises. Well, it's the boy tidying up all of his things. So I should probably explain that to the audience. So I might say, the boy, capital letter because we're starting a new sentence, the boy. Now, I could say threw his toys into the cupboard. And there I'm explaining to my audience what those noises were. Clang, smash, thud. The boy threw his toys into the cupboard. Now actually, I wonder if I could think of a different word instead of threw. I wonder if I could think of a better word than threw. Now it's not placed and it's not positioned because he's not doing it carefully. He's throwing them, isn't he? Because he's chucking them. So I could say the boy chucked his toys into the cupboard. I could say the boy threw his things. The boy maybe launched his things. That's a good one. And launched works quite well because we're about to talk about spaceships and going into space. So maybe I should say the boy launched his toys into the cupboard. There we go. So for this sentence, you can have a go at writing mine if you like. You might want to change the verb. You might want to have a go at changing where he's throwing the things as well. You might have the boy chucked his toys. Maybe you could change the preposition as well. Maybe the boy chucked his toys across the room, or the boy threw his toys behind the back of his bed. You could have a little play of where he was putting his toys. That'd be quite nice as well, wouldn't it? Have a little think, where would you put it? You could have maybe the boy stuffed his toys under the bed. I like that one as well. The boy stuffed his toys under the bed. Have a little think and explain to me what these, why these sounds were being made. So pause the video there if you want to have a go at writing this sentence, or you can do it at the end. So let's have a read of everything we've got so far. Once there was a boy who loved adventure and exploring. Clang, smash, thud. The boy launched his toys into the cupboard. Good so far. Now, what did he find in the cupboard? Oh yes, he found this aeroplane. Now have a close look at the aeroplane. What words could we use to describe it? Well, obviously one word that comes into my mind is we could use the word red, because it is a red aeroplane. We could say it was a metal aeroplane. We could say it was an old aeroplane. We could say it was a broken aeroplane. We could say it was a huge aeroplane, or we could say it was a tiny aeroplane. We could say it was a, maybe rather than just old, maybe we could say an old-fashioned aeroplane. There's some good ideas, aren't they? So let's have a think about how we might want to describe the aeroplane. We'll keep those in our head while we write our next sentence. The boy launched his toys into the cupboard. I'm going to start my next sentence with suddenly, because while he's launching his toys into the cupboard, or stuffing them under the bed, it depends on what you've said he's doing, but while he's doing that, he's going to find the aeroplane. So I'm going to say suddenly, again, capital letter, because I finished with a full stop over there. Can you see that if I'm putting my bit out there? There we go. So suddenly, he found now I'm going to put 3 adjectives in a list, 3 of those descriptions in a list, using commas and an and to separate my list. Like I would say, I need bread, comma, milk and potatoes from the shop. I'm going to do the same kind of list now while I'm describing the plane. So suddenly he found I'm going to start with red. Red. Maybe I will go with maybe rusty. Maybe because it's made out of metal and it's quite old, might be a red, rusty, old-fashioned plane. Moving to a more suitable writing position. An old-fashioned plane. There we go. Suddenly, he found a red, rusty, old-fashioned plane. Full stop. Brilliant. Now, the bit I would like you to do is I want you to think of your own description of the plane. Now, in the book, it was red and it was a bit old-fashioned, but it didn't have to be in your story. You could do a green, modern, sleek plane, or you could do a shiny metal, pointed plane, or maybe you could do a multicoloured, wide, unusual plane, whatever you like. And that's what he's found while he was tidying up. Now, I want to add one little extra thing onto here before we finish. I want to tell my reader exactly where he found it. Now, we did say he was launching his toys into the cupboard, but I want to tell my reader exactly where in the cupboard. So maybe it was in the back corner. If you said that he was stuffing it under his bed, maybe you could say he found it pushed against the wall. Or if you've said that he was throwing his toys across the room, you might say behind his drawers or something like that. I'm actually going to add that on. I'm going to take my full stop and I'm going to add that onto my very final sentence. Suddenly, he found a red, rusty, old-fashioned plane in the far corner. So what I'm adding there is I'm adding a preposition phrase to tell me where it was. There we go. Because you could do, suddenly found a blue, sleek metal plane pushed behind his toy box. You could do something like that. As long as it all makes sense with the rest of the writing, that's absolutely fine. So we've got, once there was a boy who loved adventure and exploring. Clang, smash, thud. The boy launched his toys into the cupboard. Suddenly, he found a red, rusty, old-fashioned plane in the far corner. And then on Wednesday, we're going to carry on and we're going to build a few more sentences into our paragraph. So what I'd like you to do is make sure that you have replaced some of these underlined bits with your own. I'm going to move this a little bit more in so you can see. With some of your own choices. And then you'll have your own version of this paragraph. If you'd like to send it or tweet it to us, remember, here's all of our contact information. I will see you guys tomorrow when we do a little bit of reading. See you later, everyone. Bye.